All right. So let me welcome you all back to this afternoon's session. So far, I think it's been very interesting, and I hope we are not here just to listen and go, but to get ourselves involved in the discussion and get something out of it. If I had the opportunity, I will ask everybody what they are taking out of this conference, and after the conference, what they really want to do. So even if I don't get that opportunity, I want you to mark something down. What you are getting out of here, what you are going to do different after you leave here. Now, let me take the opportunity to congratulate IRMA for organizing this conference, and also for their milestone, 10 years. That is not an easy thing. And from there, I want to welcome you to our session on newer procurement approaches and perspectives under the overall theme, maximizing value addition by procurement through sustainability and simplification. In today's rapidly evolving global landscape, procurement practices are undergoing significant transformation. This session aims to explore innovation and cutting-edge procurement strategies that are not only transforming the landscape to enhance value addition of the public sector procurement, but also prioritizing sustainability and simplification in the procurement process. Sustainable procurement is no longer a mere option. It used to be an option. It used to be a cliche. It used to be something that we say without doing, but this time it has become necessary to involve or integrate environmental and social considerations into our procurement decisions, and ensuring that goods and services procured have minimal negative impacts on the environment and society. So it's not only the environment, we are also talking about the people. We're talking about the planet, and we are talking about the people. So procurement should be beneficial to the environment or the planet that we live on, and the people that are actually being served. So notwithstanding, some people are sitting back and wondering whether it is possible at all to implement the so-called new procurement approaches. Some consider them, particularly SPP and GPP, as mere cliches. There are a few who think it's not possible, whilst others outright write them off because they think it's a waste of our limited financial resources. But thankfully, many procurement professionals, like the eminent ones that I have sitting with me here, with can-do spirit, have moved the needle forward by actually implementing and demonstrating the benefits in implementing these new procurement approaches. In this session, our discussion will be centered around several key sub-themes, about 4 of them, each of them highlighting actual innovative approaches they have implemented and their impact on the various sectors, the environment, and citizens. First, we'll delve into the contribution of procurement approaches in ease of doing procurement, to be delivered by Mr. Sinha, a technocrat and project director for ease of doing business. And then we'll have a session covering innovative approaches for procurement of e-buses for mass deployment by Mr. Rana. And then we'll have Mr. Pradeep explaining to us or exploring procurement in Pradhan, Matri, Gram, Sadak, Yojana, innovative and implementation of road projects. And finally, we'll have how QCBS has been used to actually practicalize all the things we are talking about sustainability, how is it used? How is it incorporated in employers' requirement? How is it used to do evaluation? How do we make sure that we use KPIs to enforce any promises that bids or proposals have made to deliver those values and impacts that is expected? So we have Mr. Arun giving us a lecture on this. And as we embark on this session, I would ask that let us explore how newer procurement approaches can drive value addition through new technologies, sustainability, simplification, and consideration for other non-price factors, as well as application of life cycle costing. We look forward to an engaging and insightful discussion on these topics and their impact on the various sectors. And our survival on this beautiful planet depends on, incorporating all these beautiful things in our procurement. So without much ado, I will first turn to Mr. Sinha to take us through what, in his view, procurement has done to, make doing business easy, in not only in India but elsewhere. And I'm sure we will learn a lot out of this. Thank you. By the way, in order to have more time for discussion and questions, if you can finish this within 10 to 15 minutes, it will be great.
गुड आफ्टरनून, नमस्कार। मंच पर हमारे साथ वर्ल्ड बैंक के प्रतिनिधि, ऊर्जा मंत्रालय के CSL से आए, गुजरात सरकार अहमदाबाद कॉरपोरेशन से, कोंकण रेलवे और रूरल डेवलपमेंट मंत्रालय भारत सरकार के प्रतिनिधियों को मेरा अभिनंदन। मेरे परिचय में जो हिस्सा हमारे चेयरमैन ने दिया उसको आप लोग गंभीरता से न लें, मैं आपकी तरह श्रोता हूँ। और वर्ल्ड बैंक, ईज़ ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस, देश में कारोबार कैसे सुगमता से हो, जैसे आप सुनने आए हैं वैसे मैं भी सुनने आया हूँ। ये आइमा का आभार है कि उन्होंने कुछ मॉडल्स को आपके सामने साथ रखने का मौका दिया। और पिछले 10 साल में हमारा देश, हमारी भारतीय अर्थव्यवस्था कहाँ थी, कहाँ खड़ी है और विकसित भारत के नाम पर कहाँ जाने की तैयारी में है, उस तैयारी की थोड़ी झलक मैं आप सबको दे सकूं। मेरा नाम अभिजीत सिन्हा है, मैं नेशनल प्रोग्राम डायरेक्टर हूं ईज़ ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस का। और यदि समय रहा तो हम इस अनोखे सफ़र में अगले 10 मिनट में $3.6 ट्रिलियन की इकनॉमी को $36 ट्रिलियन के किस मिशन मोड में जाता हुआ देख सकते हैं, उस पर भी थोड़ी बातचीत कर पाएंगे। मैं अपने एड्रेस को दोनों भाषाओं में रखूंगा, हिंदी और अंग्रेजी। जो स्ट्रैटेजिक चीज़ें हैं वो मैं हिंदी में बोलूँगा ताकि केवल भारतीय लोग समझ पाएँ, और जो टेक्निकल चीज़ें हैं प्रोडक्शन से रिलेटेड और उनसे रिलेटेड वो सबके लिए उपलब्ध होगी। हालांकि बाद में वीडियो पे सबटाइटल आ ही जाते हैं। प्रोक्योरमेंट मतलब खरीदना, मंगाना, लाना, इंतज़ाम करना, प्राप्त करना। और जैसे जैसे अर्थव्यवस्था बदलती है वैसे वैसे ये एविडेंट है कि प्रोक्योरमेंट भी बदलता जाता है, बदलता रहता है। हमारी आज की अर्थव्यवस्था और इसे जानने के लिए, इसे समझने के लिए इतिहास में अर्थव्यवस्था कैसी रही है उसको जानना बहुत ज़रूरी है। और मैं ऐसा मानता हूँ कि इतिहास और अर्थव्यवस्था ये दोनों हमेशा साथ साथ पढ़ी जानी चाहिए। अगर आप एक को एक बार में पढ़ेंगे तो दूसरे का अर्थ कभी समझ में नहीं आएगा, क्योंकि पावर, पॉलिटिक्स, इकोनॉमी को हर फेज में हर वक्त बदलता आया है। और सिर्फ हिस्ट्री बिना इकोनॉमिक्स जब पढ़ी जाती है तो अधूरी होती है, और इकोनॉमिक्स बिना हिस्ट्री जब पढ़ी जाती है तो वो भी अधूरी होती है। सो विशेष रूप से यदि मैं कहूँ तो भारतवर्ष में और भारतवर्ष के इतिहास की चर्चा उसके कोर गोल्डन पीरियड के रेफरेंस के बिना हमेशा अधूरा होगा। और जितना ज्ञान हमारे उपनिषद में, हमारे दर्शन में, सब चीज़ों में था, वो कहीं ना कहीं हमारे भारतीय दर्शन के इंटेलिजेक्स में आचार्य चाणक्य ने अर्थशास्त्र के अंदर डाल दिया। अब आप कहेंगे कि ये पीछे कोनोटेशन क्यों लेके गए हिस्ट्री में? क्योंकि जब तक अर्थशास्त्र अपनी पोजीशन में था और अपने इन्फ्लुएंस में था, वो इंडिया का गोल्डन पीरियड था। करीब 30% ग्लोबल जीडीपी, एक्चुअली में 32% है, ग्लोबल जीडीपी भारत के पास थी। और उसी काल को सोने की चिड़िया, गोल्डन एज, मौर्य काल, गुप्ताज पीरियड कहते हैं। और दोबारा आज यदि गवर्नमेंट के इंटेंट को, जिसको आप देश की प्रकृति के निर्धारण के तथ्य पर देखते हैं, गवर्नमेंट के कंटेंट को और गवर्नमेंट के एक्सटेंट को, जिससे प्रकृति, प्रवृत्ति और युक्ति, डिवाइसेस ऑफ प्रोक्योरमेंट और डिवाइसेस ऑफ फाइनेंसिंग, डिवाइसेस ऑफ रीमॉडलिंग डिसाइड होती है, उसको देखें तो भारत इस वक्त दो डिवाइसेस ऑफ रिस्टोर वैल्यूज एंड डेवलप अ सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी के ऊपर चल रहा है। ग्रीन इकोनॉमी, क्लाइमेट इकोनॉमी, सस्टेनेबिलिटी एंड process of various decarbonization, including a close proximity to develop, to live with nature, ये भारत की ट्रेडिशनल स्ट्रेंथ है, शायद कहीं खोई है, जिसका परिणाम ये है कि हमें आज बहुत सारी चीज़ें, ESG, SDG जैसी चीज़ों को बाहर से सुनना पड़ता है, सीखना पड़ता है और जानना पड़ता है। मैं सिर्फ दो बातें अर्थशास्त्र से लेकर वापस आज की इकोनॉमी के ऊपर आ जाऊंगा और प्रोक्योरमेंट मॉडल पर। एक है शुभ लाभ। जब आप कहीं पूजा करते हैं, जब कहीं कोई कारोबार देश में होता है, तो एक तरफ शुभ लिखा जाता है और दूसरी तरफ लाभ लिखा जाता है। इसका अर्थ होता है इथिकल प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी, डू गुड एंड मेक मनी। और दूसरा रेसिडुअल ऑफ मार्क्सिज्म। दिस विल गिव अ लॉट ऑफ कॉन्वर्सेशन, लॉट ऑफ बेस इंग्रेडिएंट ऑफ व्हाट प्रोक्योरमेंट मॉडल वी आर होल्डिंग टुडे। बिकॉज एज अ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, जहां आपकी बहुत ज़्यादा हिस्सा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सर्विसेज का, उस समय 1947 की जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सर्विस थी उससे कॉपीड है, वैसे ही प्रोक्योरमेंट का एक बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा उस समय प्रोक्योरमेंट कैसे होती थी, या उस समय लार्ज इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर या प्रोक्योरमेंट के प्रोजेक्ट कैसे होते थे, उससे इन्फ्लुएंस्ड है। सो अगर शुभ लाभ और मार्क्सिज्म, इन दोनों को आप कनेक्ट करके देखें तो आपको आज जिस मॉडल को आप प्रोक्योरमेंट के नाम पर करते हैं उसका पूरा इन्फ्लुएंस, ट्रेडिशन और उसका इनहेरिटेंस दिखेगा। So without due delay, I'll enter into the presentation of our economy. I hope it can be made visible. If somebody from technical team can make it visible. मैं आपको सिर्फ 3 procurement model शेयर करूंगा. Now I'll switch to English. This would be on high net infrastructure because India is a country of infrastructure now. And second, the process, position and procedures because approach and सोच हम दोनों बदल रहे हैं. Third model which I am going to share with you is on the climate financing. Preferably after the global disappointment of COP29, the world is looking at India that how after G20 connotation where India has very strongly suggested and led the world to tell that how you are going to live with the nature. And if any country can give this level of consultation to the world, then it could be India, nobody else. And last is a derivative of annuity hybrid model. HAM आपने पहले सुना है, उसका एक डेरिवेटिव बताएंगे. एक सोशल मॉडल का भी सेक्टर हमने इसमें रखा है, एक मॉडल रखा है ताकि आप अगर हेल्थ केयर या किसी सोशल मॉडल के ऊपर प्रोक्योरमेंट कर रहे हैं तो आपको उसकी जानकारी हो. जब तक प्रेजेंटेशन अपलोड होती है तब तक मैं आपको ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस के बारे में थोड़ा बता देता हूं. ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस विकसित भारत के बदले हुए उस प्रारूप के लिए राइट इंटेंट, राइट कंटेंट और राइट एक्सटेंट को बिल्ड करता है. ये नीचे जो आप प्रोग्राम्स देख रहे हैं, टिकेट ऑफ इंडिया, आज़ादी का अमृत महोत्सव, द एन्यूटी हाइब्रिड ई मोबिलिटी, विकसित भारत, 5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी, द न्यू भारत, संकल्प से सिद्धि, सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी, टेक फॉर सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी एंड क्लाइमेट फाइनेंसिंग विच इज ऑल्सो नोन एज $2 trillion climate financing economy by 2030. CPOS, Charge Point Operators Societies of India, to build a new generation of energy vendors and National Highway for Electric Vehicle, which is to be quite famous because of e-highway and our Honorable Minister has been speaking continuously about it. So to start with, I'm glad that I am sharing this with a representative from Power Ministry, CSL speaker. He'll take us forward in how and where we have reached, but I will take you back 10 years back when we started building e-highway and we started working on e-highway. We had a competition with Germany, and Germany had a very successful model of pantograph wires and then a very capital intensive, approximately 22 crore rupees per kilometer Autobahn e-highway, which is called e-corridor. When India started building it, it had to build a different model which gives possibility to a future highway which is primarily powered by green energy, capital incentive and yet profitable. So the challenges were very, very high, and I'm glad that in 3 technical trials between Delhi, Jaipur, Delhi, Agra, Chennai, Trichy, 2020, 2022 and 2024, we have managed to build and give a conception of an e-highway of tomorrow, which will be better and best than Germany, but more efficient and cost effective than America, the Tesla model, and yet to be compared with the Israel and other model of convection, the floor charging. This highway concepts the procurement of an emerging technology which does not have rule book in that presence. So most of the time when you are procuring something which is emerging tech, you have to rely on a technical pilot rather than relying on a consulting agency or might be a model which have worked good in Finland, Sweden or some other country. In summary, if I can tell you, the 2 trials which has given confidence for a private sector bank, a private entity to come into the procurement and fund an e-highway will give you, I think, more insight and more clarity on the model. 3 things were sent and thrown as a challenge. First, how much you are going to spend on the EV. And today, I can quote our Honorable Minister of Road Transport and Highway that in 2 years from now, we will have the EV cost of the vehicle and diesel cost of the vehicle equal. The most concerning part of an EV user used to be what will happen to my vehicle if I am on highway. So procurement of deploying services which will give them a backup within 30 minutes was made insured into this. So if you are traveling with a EV and you shut down on these highway, without calling in 30 minutes, you will be able to get a backup because your vehicle is on a V2X and it is being read with a small infrastructure interaction between vehicle and infrastructure. Third, and the most important thing, is the utilization of infrastructure. In last 10 years, the utilization of our infrastructure has been only into a position of 3%, means break even of around an infrastructure of 45 years. This particular project is the only project which also given 2 prototype charging station in Gurgaon with an utilization of 72%, and it has a highway utilization of 30%. Last but not least, the entire asset is not meant and not built on a model which is allowing the commencement body or the procurement body to build a component of the station without having 30% utilization and 36 to 40 month break-even period. So altogether, if you combine all these 4 things, that on highway you have to give 30 minutes backup, utilization should be 30% and above, the procurement cost of the vehicle should be equal to diesel and petrol, and the last, you have to make sure that every component which is reaching to its break-even in 36 and people who are getting backup in 30 minutes is giving confidence to a new highway where whatever decision of capital decision you take for making the stations after each 50 kilometer intensive, you will be able to make it viable, profitable and bankable. My last to this slide, National Highway, will give you a future of highway, and you will be surprised to know that every station is having more than 65 chargers. It is a confirmation that you are definitely going to get charged, and every station is, when giving power, it is utilizing 3 megawatt divided into 4 different compact substation of 800 kilowatt. And why 4 is because tomorrow when you are going to negotiate carbon credit and carbon offset, the 4 substations which are powered by solar, wind, hydrogen and thermal grid. So all 3 of them, they are green. Currently, we are to start with the thermal grid, and then going forward, we will be able to make it 100% green. So what does it give you is a highway for tomorrow where you charge from solar, you put it on the battery, or you surplus power you throw on the hydrogen generator. It generates hydrogen on the station. It keeps it ready for the dispensing. It also give it to the generator if in case your power grid is not working. The vehicle which you have charged is running on the highway. On the wind turbine of the divider, it is returning you the 30% energy. So 10 years from now, ladies and gentlemen, India would have highways which would not require that 800 megawatt thermal grid. It would be 100% green, regenerative, and it will be able to reduce our national procurement, national GDP is spent of around 14% to 3 to 4%. Our current target is to bring it down by 9%. Going ahead, the other plan, the other important aspect of procurement is to make each and every services which are enabling economies around, instead of making it over the counter for people, for businesses, it is to be made over the portal. So around 1700 plus services and 18,000 plus compliances in over last 10 years, India has removed from the processes and procurements and multiple, check boxes that we need to do business. And in coming time, bringing DPI, digital public infrastructure, will be able to extend its benefits beyond human interaction and human services, which is voter ID card, PAN card, passport, etc., and make doing businesses easy at any language, at any location of India. Climate financing is definitely one of those very, very promising ambition of Government of India. bringing entire decarbonization to $10 trillion economy, and definitely there was a special instrument required, a special procurement model required to decide how we are going to decide between two projects, which one is green and which one is not green. So a complete indexing of deciding the emission, discharge, their possibilities of creating an garbage and possibility to impact environment has been indexed into 16 different parameters to decide. And once they are decided, it can be given as a position to give reduction of 3 to 4% interest rate in the loan, and also a single window clearance for which ease of doing business has been known. Annuity hybrid e-mobility, I will not spend much time because you all know HAM already. HAM has changed the face of India, how we build highways. We used to build 9-kilometer highways per day before 2024. And in next 2 years, we started building 38-kilometer e-highway per day in this country. Annuity hybrid e-mobility is the upgradation of highway from a normal highway to an e-highway. And it gives us possibility to monetize assets on PPP mode. It also gives us an open Amazon kind of possibility to do procurement from open market without floating services on the basis of merit, productivity and performance they add to the project, and which is making the asset viable. Last is the social sector, and this brings us to the end of a couple of triggers which I could manage to give in your thought. I am open to any question and answer. This is very, very ambitious, and I am very, very sure that listening to this, you will be able to understand the social sector and the soft sector of India is how going to build an economy around it. In India, we have been using ASHA and Anganwadi workers as a first touch point of our healthcare for 65% of our population. They generate huge amount of data, and they used to generate huge amount of data which always went unrecorded, unassessed. Now we have decided to build and bring each one of them on an assetizable mode to offer it for a limited licensing data sharing mechanism. We end up creating Asia's largest healthcare data, for which industry is more than happy to pay anything and everything which they are paying to dark web or some sort of illegal stuff where they get all this hacked data of healthcare and medicine. This has been started, and this is under pilot within the aegis and guidance of Government of India and our leadership. It would be the first pilot of Government of India which will create and which will calibrate the national expenditure of health from 2% to 5% by 2030. It will assetize, it will monetize, and it will create an limited licensing subscription model for all healthcare devices, pharma and other industries. With this, we reach to the conclusion of our conversation. One last information which I wish to share with you is our position in 2024 as a country was very clear that we will be able to reach in next 5 years from the position of 5th largest economy to 3rd largest economy. And today, if I look at the purchasing power, not the decimal GDP, I am in a 3rd position with USA 20, with China 19.05%, USA 14.99%, and India 8.23%. But this purchasing power economy and our nominal GDP, both of them, when they are combined, and the way we are calculating our future to be brought, a huge responsibilities falls on the shoulders of procurement. Because what you are going to purchase, you are not going to get rule books for the same. You are not going to have a reference document even for purchasing those emerging technologies, products and services. So it is much needed to conduct and organize such deliberations, make these models, keep testing with the piloting, prototyping and doing a trial run and test run of them, and getting a sense of profitability economic viability, and also transition. Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Abhijeet. Those of you who did not understand the initial, part of the presentation, you see me later. I will explain everything to you. Yeah. So thank you for sharing your thoughts on the ease of doing business, and I believe, in fact, there are a few things that I heard. Maybe I'll keep to myself for now, but I believe that the can-do spirit is important if we want to really use procurement to make bigger impact than the traditional approach. And I like the way some of the integrated aspect of procurement has overall deliver value far beyond the approach if we were doing things as standalone. Now, not to waste much time, we're going to Mr. Rajneesh, who is the head of CESL, who are in charge of not only e-buses, but almost everything. So the transition of to electric buses is a critical step towards sustainable urban mobility. And as we strive towards a sustainable future, the adoption of electric buses play a crucial role in reducing carbon emission. So we want to hear from Mr. Rajneesh how this has been done. These innovative approaches have been done to procure the e-buses, the challenges that you have faced, the risks involved, and all the things that you want to share with us. So the floor is yours. Thank you.
So good afternoon to all, and thanks to IMA for having me over here. So now, without wasting much of time, I will come directly to my presentation for which I've been called here. So just to take you briefly about that, how the aggregation of the demand and the innovative thinking in the procurement can help in saving the money to the government exchanger, the end user, how it can be benefited, how the good quality of product can be delivered. This is one of the examples which I'm presenting to you in my presentation today over here. Just to brief you about the CESL. CESL is a subsidiary of ESL, which is under the Ministry of Power. And ESL, just for a second, if I will take, I want to tell you that is the agency which is, because of this, especially in India, we can see the LED revolution which has happened and followed by many other programs like smart meter programs and solar, decentralized solars and all this thing. So when the government of India felt that there is a need for the pushing to the e-mobility, because e-mobility, we know that especially the e-cars, if we talk about the individual level, is always an expensive proposition. And in 2017, it was thought by the government that to start with and to make the visibility on the road, we should have the government should be the first procurer for all these services or the product, so the visibility can be created and the people can have a faith in that one. So for that one, to have a special focus on the e-mobility, the CSL is being formed to have this one. So CSL as of now is focusing only on the electric buses, which we are doing for the STU, state transport undertakings. Apart from that, we are delivering the e-4-wheelers to the government department. Also around 2,000 cars is being deployed to the government departments. Then the charging is necessary. Charging infrastructure is necessary to support all these things. We have solar carport. I will take you through later on. Then the e-bicycle is the program which we are taking forward. So just to take you the background, because I've been told to specifically about the e-bus, I have to tell you about this one. Just to take you through the background, that in India, we have around 23 lakhs buses, which are deployed in the school, colleges, institutions. And out of that, around 1.5 lakhs are with the state transport undertaking, the roadways bus properly we can say, or the DTC, or the best buses we can say in India. 90% are the diesel buses as of now, still now. Some of them are the CNG buses. And in the last 2-3 years, when the government focus is there, the e-buses is also start coming in up. And we are now almost 8,000 buses on the road as of now. We can see that we are a large population, large country, and still we have almost 70% of the cities, we can say the tier 3 cities or the smaller town doesn't have the organized bus service also. So we'll go by that one. We will be requiring around 2.5 times of what the number of buses we have right now by 2030. Government is working on that one also. Then we have a phasing out of program of the buses. Every year now, the old buses are phasing out. 30,000-40,000 buses are phased out every year. If I talk about the National E-Bus program, which the government of India has told CSL to do that thing in 2022, 2 years ago. So around the 50,000 was a target, and the target was kept for 2027-28. And I'm happy to share that in the last 2 years itself, we have aggregated almost 39,000 number of buses. Some of them will come also in a few months. But if I will take the numbers, the government has almost aggregated 40,000 buses out of 50,000, which was targeted 27-28. So apart from China, now the India is one of the fast moving country towards the electric mobility. The tenders are issued for 22,000 and LOAs are placed for around 12,000. So what is the difference now? I will come to the model, how it is innovative and all this thing. We all know that the state transport undertaking used to buy these buses of their own, and they run their buses, the large number of the fleet they have to operate these things, the manpower they have. And we all know that it's a loss-making proposition, because not only because of the tariff we charge or from the customer, but there are other issues also in that one. So we have designed this concept that how it can help basically the government to adopt the new model. The cost of e-bus, if I will tell you, is almost 3 times is more than your diesel buses. So the state government or the STUs are not in a position to buy such an expensive proposition when they are already in red. So these are the few benefits of if the state governments or STU buy these buses. Naturally, they have the ownership of these buses. They have the more flexibility, autonomy about the fleet. They can do the things according to their requirement. Whereas the challenge is if they will go for these electric buses, procurement are there. This is a new technology. The entire techno-commercial risk will be on the STUs. The training of the staff, of the existing staff to handle these electric buses is also a challenge. The financial health, as I have already told you, that the STUs are not in a very good position in India. Almost 20,000 crore rupees net losses. That was because there is no proper books are maintained by the STU, but that is in 2019-20, almost 20,000, and accumulated losses is more than 1.2 crores. Now the GCC model, what CSL has done. GCC is a gross cost contract model. Here what model is that the private operator or the OEM has to bring a bus of his own. He will invest into the buses. He will operate these buses for a fixed tenure, say around a contract period of 10 to 12 years, though the life of a bus is around 15 years. But here in our contract, it is a 12 years. And the reason is that because the battery requires changes after 6 years. So 12 years, we kept it in that way. And he will maintain these buses. The drivers, the maintenance staff, all will be with the operator. The revenue collection, which is, we can say, the conductor, is from the STU side. So the STU has to pay to the operator on a per kilometer basis. So take an example in Delhi. Suppose the Delhi, we have opened up a bed 2 years ago and the rate has come as 65 rupees per kilometer. Whereas the existing running expenses of the DTC, if I will take, that is more than 90 rupees. So in a way, if you will just see that how the aggregation has helped, because we have aggregated the demand not from the Delhi, from the others, the STUs also, or cities also. So it helps in the manufacturers also to streamline their production, because earlier it has been seen that the different STU procure the different buses at a different specification. Somebody wants a 11.8 meter bus, somebody wants a 12 meter bus, somebody wants a 12.5 meters of buses, somebody wants a low floor bus, somebody wants a high floor, AC, non-AC. There are hundreds of variants, you can say. So in a way, the demand aggregation can never happen, and naturally the cost of production will be high. So the Gauss cross contact, we have developed this one, and in this the obligation of the operator is to manage the bus, run the buses, whereas the obligation of the STU is to pay the monthly GCC fees on the discovered rate, which the CSL is doing on that one. This is a role of a CSL, as I already briefed, that we will do the demand aggregation and prepare the draft tender document in consultation with the stakeholders, and then we bid it out, evaluate it, and we do the due diligence about the price reasonability which we have discovered, and ultimately we will offer the price to the STU, which they in terms has to place the LOA to the operator. So that I have already explained. I will not take much of a time on this one. Benefit, as I already told you, that large number of buses has been done, and the rate discovers were even lesser than the, on a per kilometer basis, on an operating basis is lesser than the even diesel buses. So in a way, it's a win-win situation for the STU. The passengers are getting in new electric buses, AC buses generally, and the government is saving on the exchanger also. So in a nutshell, if I will say that now the bus procurement is moved from a procurement of a bus from the bus as a service bus. Why this is just to take you through the financials of that one, that a electric bus cost around almost 6 crore in a 12 years time, if we'll talk about on a per year running cost basis. So it's a huge capital investment is required in that one. Naturally, the total cost of ownership is lower than the diesel bus in all this thing. But when we did the first tender, the OEMs came and the 5,500 number of buses tender was there. It requires a lot of capital support, and the bankers also it was a new thing. So it was a challenging for the OEMs also, that how to mitigate that thing. That later on the bankers start saying that you are putting up so much of money, but the STUs, who is ultimately paymaster, they don't have the money to pay to you. So the OEMs start requesting, or the operators start requesting about the PSM, which is a payment security mechanism, that I should get my money at the end of the month in any case, whether the bus is running or whatever the circumstances are there. So the government has considered that demand, because to scale up, that is a very, very essential thing. So the government has created a payment security mechanism. This is a 3,500 crore rupees of fund which is being created by the government, and the CSL is handling that fund. In that fund, what will happen, that if the OEM won't get a money, or the operator won't get a money at the end of a month, then they can, after 15 days of the expiry of that, they can reach to the CSL, and CSL can pay the monthly fees from the fund which they have created. And in a way, the STU has to repay that fund within 90 days with the interest. In case if the STU won't pay that thing, then they have given a mandate to the RBI that it can be deducted from a state government. So in a way, if you will think about that thing, that is a beautiful arrangement which is being done. Hardly there is any sector where you will find this kind of a thing, where the state government guarantee is there, backed by with the RBI, that without any intervention on the request of CSL, our money can be deducted from the state account. So these are the few of the schemes which government has initiated. We know that the buses are expensive proposition, as I said, the electric buses. So the government support is required initially to push this sector. And there is a PM E-Drive scheme, which is the FAME we popularly known in India, FAME 1, FAME 2. Now this is we can say in a way the FAME 3. So PME in this almost a 14,000 number of buses has been capped on, with a financial outlay of 4,391 crores, and a subsidy which will be given around 35 lakh rupees for the 12 meter bus, followed by 9 meters and the 7 meters buses. And this scheme is only for a population for a 4 million plus population. 9 cities are there. The another scheme is with the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Earlier one was with the Ministry of Heavy Industry. So the Ministry of the earlier scheme, if you don't get confused, the earlier scheme was only for 9 cities which has a population of 4 million plus population. Whereas this scheme of MOA is for 169 cities. The cities, most of the cities are there who have not seen the bus so far in their city, the urban buses. So around 10,000 buses are there. And in this one, the per kilometer central assistance will be provided to the cities. To give an example, that if a city has discovered a rate of 60 rupees per kilometer, so 24 rupees will be provided by the center and 36 rupees has to borne by the city. But the average fare collection is around 30 to 40 rupees for a city. So in a way, we can see that it is not a loss-making proposition for the cities and they will get a bus service. So we are handling that one and it is in process. It is in a different trenches. The tender has been done. That I have already told you about the PSM. And this one also I have told you the PSM about this one. The environment benefit, we all know this is all about the financial outlay. I've told you that what are the benefit, how the state governments are saving, the center is saving, and the customers is getting as a good bus service also. But there are, in addition to that, there is a financial benefits also about the electric mobility. As of now, we have a grid factor of 70-30, but I think by 2030 it will be a 70-30 or 30-70 we can say. Then it will bring a more benefit about to the government of India and DCs. So this is from my side. Thank you. Not taking much time.
Thank you, Mr. Rajneesh. I hope you all could see through this how the procurement of e-buses is driving SPP. You can see economic growth in this process. You can also, that is, the states have had the financial burden taken off their shoulders, especially the initial outlay to buy the buses, no more a burden to them because of private sector participation in the whole process. Secondly, the burden of maintenance is not theirs again. And if you come to sustainability, environmental sustainability, you can just judge. Unfortunately, we don't have any data here to show us, quantify the benefit of emission, savings that we are getting from here. But I'm sure it is implied. If you look at the presentation, you can see it's implied versus diesel buses. And when it comes to social aspect, because these services are given, people are now maybe parking their vehicles and others are getting this service at a better price, and movement, urban mobility is becoming easier and easier. So you can see all the aspects in this. Sometimes we don't look at it comprehensively, we just look at costs. It's going to cost this without looking at the total cost of ownership and LCC, life cycle costing in this, and then the ensuing benefit that comes to the larger society and the local people as well. But thank you so much. I think this is very insightful. Now we are going to go to the road sector, rural road sector, where the PMGSY, which is a flagship program of the government of India, has aimed at providing all-weather road connectivity to unconnected rural habitations. And the topic will discuss the impact of the program on rural connectivity and its contribution to economic growth and social development, and highlight the innovative procurement practices that has been adopted by the program. So without much ado, I will invite Mr. Pradeep to share with us some, thank you.
Very good afternoon to session moderator, to my fellow panelists, and all esteemed delegates. First of all, I am very thankful to the IMA and the World Bank inviting me here to share the experiences in PMGSY, especially related to the kind of challenges which are there in such a big flagship scheme, which is a very extensive, covering all part of the India, especially the far-flung rural areas, which has become challenging because we do it through contracting, and the challenging aspect is that how to keep these roads maintained over the period of time, and every time, not only over the period of time, every time. So we devised a method of the 5-year maintenance by the same contractor, and that too on performance-based maintenance contract basis. It is not the BOQ. That as far as the road performs, then only the contractor gets the clearance and he gets the payment in the maintenance period of 5 years. So that has become a challenge, that to maintain such a huge inventory of roads. Where it come? Oh yeah, okay, fine. So the types of the contracts as per the GFR or procurement, I think many we covered this, because why I say that there are within the existing rules of the procurement, because most of the time we say that our hands are tied and we're not able to do the procurement, the kind of the thing we want, the objectives. So there are various kinds of the contract which are specified procurement processes which are there in the GFR and the procurement, and I am very sure if everyone of knows how to handle these things, we will be able to obtain the objectives which is there in the program guidelines. Yeah, so PMGSY so far, just to give you an extent of the PMGSY, it's a huge program having a financial outlay of approximately $3 billion in a year. And so far we have constructed 772,000 kilometers of roads under various vertical of PMGSY. We define it PMGSY 1, 2, 3 and 4 depending upon the specific objectives which we want to achieve. And recently the Honorable Prime Minister has announced PMGSY 4 to connect 25,000 habitation across the country. And when we talk about the connectivity, we do not talk about the connectivity to the villages only. We talk about the connectivity to the smallest habitation inside the village. That is the beauty of the program. So, and then we covered the Naxal affected areas also. These days, Naxal affected areas are very much in news. So 9,358 kilometers of the roads have been constructed in that area also. See the extent, 1,200 project implementation unit all over the country, and 15,600 something around contractors are involved. And see this in far-flung area when the contractor capacity building of having a contractor itself is a very challenging task. And then we have all the digital intervention in the PMGSY. In our procurement processes, this digital intervention has been built in, and it is totally citizen-centric. Every transparency is there. In the morning, I think we were discussing, do we share this document to the public or do we share this document? In PMGSY, even a single letter which is issued from the PMGSY office in NRIDA, it is shared on the public platform. It is shared on the public platform, all the bid document, all the procurement process. We have OMAS, a digital platform for online management, monitoring and accounting system. Every process gets captured here. We know in real time what is the progress going on each and every road in the entire country. And then for this routine maintenance through EMARC, electronic maintenance of rural road under PMGSY. So we say electronic maintenance of rural road, we monitor it electronically. Every citizen can see. So I think this is very challenging because we see the roads and the roads are not being maintained in time. The road will remain defective for months together, and at the end of the year, somebody will come and repair, and we suffer for whole of the time. In PMGSY, we do not allow this. We monitor this each day and every month. So, and the citizen can also see, which I will show you in some of the slides. Our bid system is based on traditional system of L1. We have conceptualized, we have made our bid in such a way that even the L1 is not not so much troubling us, because we had built in the efficiencies there and the efficiency of the bidder. So the bid evaluation process is there, and the bid security we take from the contractor. Initially, we take 5% of the performance bank guarantee, and then we take retention money. We don't take upfront all the 10%. We take the retention money over the period, and over the period, we release it also. So it's a 2-envelope system, which is a traditional system. But in the traditional system, we made the technical and financial part very, very clear. And the technical evaluation goes in very deeply to understand the bidder capacity and the bidder capability. And it is a transparent process. It is on CPP. It is on CPP for the entire country. And then clear timeline and process and qualification criteria is specified upfront onto the CPP platform itself. And then the qualification criteria, e-tendering system, as I said, and the 2 bidding system. So, and also we give preference, like in the, for the procurement, for the bidder qualification, there is always a tendency to say that the bidders who are registered with a particular organization or the state will only be allowed, though the government of India does not allow this for the competitive bidding. In PMGSY, we allow all the contractors, bidders to participate without having any requirement of registration if they pre-qualify. So that is another system of transparency. And then we give preference to PMGSY contractor who did the work in PMGSY. How we give the preference? We just increase their financial capacity by 120%. So this is to encourage that the contractor who have been working in the PMGSY system is given due credit. In my presentation, I will discuss, in the morning session, it was being discussed, what is the contractor rating system, because here we are lacking or somewhere. So the contractor rating system we try to develop, though we have not implemented, but then I'll give you the guidelines, what we did in a national committee when it was being formalized. So the contractor has to show his experience in the similar kind of project. Financial capacity is well defined as per the CVC and financial guidelines. Technical proposal is there. Contractor has to have necessary equipments. This is very foremost requirement. Necessary equipment for the lab, he should also have labs for testing, and he should have the necessary equipments, legal status and compliances. So this ensures that the bidder has the capability, resources and reliability. And then we take bid security, as I have told, the clause 16 of our tender ITB specifies this, and evaluation and comparison of bids we did, and these all processes are specified in the bid document. And one more thing, every time it is being talked that if due to the competition, or maybe because of stiff competition or the wrong competition, if the contractor quotes much below than the estimated price, what needs to be done? This is always a question of debate. What we do in our PMGSY, that we take the detail, we ask the contractor how he is going to perform if the rates are well below, and then if we find that the contractor L1 who quoted is not practical rate or not feasible rate, we take extra bank guarantee. And that extra bank guarantee helps us, and we put in little more quality checks onto such kind of contracts. So the contractor knows upfront that I am going to be checked now more frequently. And what we found, that the so-called low-cost bids have got better quality performance in the quality parameters than so-called normal bids. So it is not always that the bid which is below the estimated price will fall short of our expectation, depending upon how do we manage it. And in any case, our estimate, as I keep saying, our estimates based on SOR is not a God-sent estimate. It's a very misnomer in the minds that our estimates are godsend, because the bidder or the contractor, he knows his price well. We don't know that much. I think that should be kept in mind. But this kind of safety precautions we have built in. And then experience, financial capacity, technical proposal, equipment, I have said, qualification criteria. Sorry, it has gone. Okay. Oh, I am sorry. Yeah, if someone can help me, I think. Oh, please forward it. Yeah, I'm sorry. So, and then the quality system. So we have got 3 tier quality system: tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So we have got the PIUs, we have got this. I think the time is less. I'll just go very forward. So these are some of the clauses which I am mentioning, which I have mentioned here. There's no time to read it, but then the clauses are just to ensure that the road after the construction is maintained well, and then we have provided the clauses and the conditions in the contract itself. Correction of the defects. If the contractor does not correct the defect, then rather cancelling the contract, we can claim the damages from the contractor and repair the thing. So the relevant clauses of the SBD I have given. This is the performance-based maintenance contract. Now here we specify 12 parameters, wherein on each parameters the marks are given to the road, how it is performing every month, every time. And depending upon the marks, if the road gets marks more than 80%, then only the contractor gets the payment, or otherwise he does not get the payment, and he gets the then processes can start. So this is what we call performance-based maintenance contract. How do we achieve it? We achieve it through the EMAG, web-based mobile application. Here all the inspections are done every month, and all these processes are involved there, where on the mobile app the engineers and the contractors can record the performance of their roads. This is somehow the dashboard of the EMAG. And this is the performance evaluation marks are given. And here some criteria, because if the same stretch gets the marks, less marks in the next month also, contractor will not get the payment of the entire road, because he cannot keep the road bad in condition for the same stretch 2 times or whatever. And here is that maintenance defect liability period citizen section. Now, whatever we do, if the citizen is not agreeing with us what has been done, then it is of no use. So here, every citizen, any one of us can go onto the EMAG website, can see the PMGSY rural road and its condition over a period of time, and what was the payment made and what actions were taken, with the real photograph of the road in different period of time. And then the conceptualization of contractor performance rating system, as I said. So this is some 6 criteria we try to fix up, how we'll assess the contractor performance. This is just for the guidance, but all criteria should come. It depends upon the type of the contract and the type of the work. And this is how the marking system is to be distributed, which is a very objective based system. Second, technical qualification. Then marks on technical qualification, safety measures and other thing. Quality assurance. What all marks is to be given, deduction of marks if every month delay is there in completion of the project. And then a 3-tier quality assurance, whatever marks were given, those are to be considered in contractor performance and previous performance of the contractor. And then the contractor is to be rated A, B, C, D, E, depending upon the marks he gets it. And here is the intervention, that what the bidder will get or the contractor will get the preference during pre-bid, bidding phase and execution phase. So this has been specified very clearly without making any financial payment to the contractor. These are the things which will be helpful to the contractor in pre-bid and bidding phase and execution phase, depending upon his marks. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
A very interesting presentation. Thank you very much, sir. I saw a lot of things from this. Inclusivity. We are not cutting out our small communities, villages. We want them to grow. It is only when we provide them such infrastructure that they would also be able to grow and contribute to the economy. And I tell you, if you don't look at it and if you don't plan this in a strategic manner, you won't get contractors going in and coming in. Apart from the fact that you hold the contractors throughout the cycle to maintenance, I think it creates jobs for local communities as well. Some of those communities, they don't only get infrastructure, but it creates job for them. And you are building capacity of contractors to do this. I'm very, very happy about that. You are making use of the digital platforms for the bidding processes, performance monitoring, and so on and so forth. And this is a good one. So I think we have spent a lot of time. We are going to go to the final presentation, which is quality and cost based. I hope you remember when Sanjay made the presentation, he said that there is not much uptake in this QCBS. I'm sure it's because people are afraid, number one, to change from the traditional procurement to this rated criteria or cost-based criteria. Number 3, maybe our auditors are also contributing to this, because we are doing solely compliance-based instead of outcome and performance-based, auditing. So because of that, people really feel, but the quality and cost-based approach has been utilized in the Nuclear Power Corporation. Such a big endeavor, complex endeavor with huge risk, not only to the contracting itself, but to the citizens, if it is not well done, if you don't take into consideration certain non-price factors like quality, safety, sustainability, and those kind of factors in this, then, and you only look at lowest price, the risk is going to be very, very high. And I think that when it comes to such ventures, the risk must be placed at the right place where it can be better managed. And I think the bidders are able to do this better. And using quality and cost-based selection, we are able to attract them. So I will give you the opportunity. Please share with us, and then maybe nudge the rest of us who think it cannot be done, so we can pick it up and move with it. Thank you.
ये आगे जाने का? हाँ जी, ठीक है, इसको ऑन पूरा ले लो। आगे जाने का ही बैक का फॉरवर्ड नहीं, ठीक है, इसको ऑन कर दे, नहीं फुल स्क्रीन कर दो। ओके, good afternoon, and thanks to IMA, thanks to my co-panelists, and big thanks to you, because without delegates, we are standing here as no meaning. So anyway, today in the morning, Sanjay told that QCBS, though introduced about 4 years back, but not 22. In the 22, not much has been done. But one department which I can vouch, they are very happy with the QCBS is the Nuclear Power Corporation, a Department of Atomic Energy. So with the last, I was lucky to one of the STC, Special Technical Committee members, and we could do, which I am going to tell you in short, because time is less. So what I will do, instead of going to the procedural aspect, directly come to the result, what we have achieved, and what precaution we should take, basically, if you are going for the QCBS. So I will just, oh, sorry. So I am skipping all the procedural parts because otherwise it will take much time. Okay. So this nuclear island mega EPC package was declared the quality-oriented program by the Board of Directors, NPCIL. You know, for the declaration of the quality-oriented program, if it is the government department, it has to be by the secretary of that department, or if it is the public sector, then it is by the Board of Directors. So it is basically 2 700 megawatt nuclear power plants at the Kega, Karnataka. So accordingly, one STC was formed, and I was one of the members. Here, you know, only the one member can be from that organizations, other are from the outside. Now, this is again a very tricky issue. I don't know ABCD of the nuclear power, but I am the one of the members and making a very, very highly technical job. So, Sanjay may tell you in his wisdom why all the peoples have been kept out. But again, I think it gives a perspective. You are neutral, you are not biased, and you see the things from the outside perspective. So one way it is good, it has come out well. Okay. Now, because it was the nuclear power, so we had to do the many technical points. So we had to sit with their technical departments, quality departments, safety departments, and had a long session for hours and hours. What are the technically important parameters? You see, that is important. Otherwise, there is no meaning for going the QCBS if we don't pinpoint what are the really technically important points. There is no point if we keep the general points, right? And those will be different. Like with the, now I am again in the one of the second QCBS committee, this STC, which is the LIGO. LIGO is the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Laboratory. This will be the third lab in the world, and first outside USA. So again, we just 3 days back, we have submitted our reports to Director BRC, and I think NIT will be issued in this month only. So they found that this has really worked. So then you have to see the many technical parameters like the 3D modeling, stress analysis. So what are the important that you have to grade those things. So what are the steps? One is the pre-qualification requirement. Once any firms who clears the pre-qualification requirement, then we, as the STC, we make certain technical criteria and we give the marks. And those firms, and then we specify what will be the minimum marks. So here in our case, we specified 60 will be the minimum marks. And we have to be very careful, means our criteria cannot be lower than the pre-qualification criteria, right? And I would suggest while making the technical criteria, let's put up some logic. Just for example, suppose I say that the firm should have 200 engineers. It doesn't make sense. Why 200? Why not 400? So what we did, just I'm giving one example, because for every parameters we discussed hours and hours. So we decided that at the peak of their working, how many suppose civil engineers shall be required. So they said 50 civil engineers shall be required. So we thought any organizations, if have 50 engineers, they cannot spare all the engineers. So let's assume 5 times. So who have 250 engineers, they can spare 50 engineers. So we will give 1 mark to them. And who have 1,000 engineers or 500 engineers, they can spare 10% of their engineers. So we will give them 4 marks or highest marks. And then accordingly. So we have certain logics. If tomorrow someone checks, then we can say that was our assumption. So for each and every parameter, total were 71 parameters. So we made logic and what will be the documents required to check. So those all are given. So we have divided in this technical expertise and 6 criteria and then each sub-criteria. And we have given the marks. So I am again not going in the details. But here we have to be very careful. Don't make any loose criteria which can be fulfilled by everyone, or don't make very tight criteria also. You see, what is the difference if someone says why you are going for QCBS? You improve your pre-qualification criteria, so it will tantamounts to like a QCBS. No, it is not like that. Because suppose I say 7,000 crore is my minimum requirement for the firm must have executed one nuclear contract of 7,000 crore. So if I make as the pre-qualification criteria, then 7,000 crore to 20,000 crore, they will be in the same bracket. But if we select the QCBS, then 7,000 crore will get say 1 mark, 20,000 crore will get the 3 marks. So he will have certain advantage for that. So these were we have divided this thing. Here, we have to score the technical scores. So I will tell you how it is by score. Okay. So here is the way. It is a hypothetical case. Then I will come to the real case. Whosoever scores the highest technical marks, he is given the 100 and you divide proportionately. And similarly for the financial qualification, financial scores, whosoever quoted lowest gets 100 and accordingly it is divided. And then we give the weightage. So in any works contract or EPC contract, the maximum weightage for the non-financial parameter or technical parameters can only be 30%. I asked Sanjay once why you have given only 30%. Then he replied, because they are the high value contracts. And when we did this time, we thought, okay, 30 is more than enough. Because now you see, here we have done calculation before going this. So hypothetically, suppose one firm scores 60, the other scores 100. So obviously, who scores 60 will have to be the lowest in the financial. So the firm who scores 100 can be 20% higher, and still they will get the contract. So what will be the financial implication? That our KEGA unit was about 12,000 crore. So you can pay 2,400 crore extra. And you see in any government procurement, even we are worried for the few lakhs. So 2,400 crore is a huge amount. So you have to be really very meticulous, due diligence to the highest level you have to apply. Otherwise, you may be in the trouble. They are the certain risk and mitigation You may select the adverse risk selection is in fact the biggest risk because there is a huge financial implication. So tomorrow someone finds I have paid 1,000 crore extra without any substantial gain, then there is no point for going for the QCBS. So selection of the QCBS itself should be very, very, after giving lot of thought, it should be there. Our chairman NPCL said, if not in nuclear power plant, then where? So that we agree that in nuclear power plant, space technology, we have to go for the QCBS. Then suppose LCS, least cost selection can work, then why for QCBS? So the mitigation it should be justified, applied only under the circumstances mentioned above. Weightage of the technical cost may not be proportional to the quality. That is again very important. So STC should deliberate very critically and 30% weightage should be exception. I told that 30% weightage should be exceptional. It is the highest, but it should be exceptional. Then technical criteria may not be relevant. These are the certain risks. And I have given the mitigation, of course. So you have to sit with the technical department, each department, discuss with them, and then make your own judgment. Is it required for this project or not? You see, it is not that every criteria you take as every technical criteria you take in the QCBS, no. Which you feel they will affect the quality substantially, please take only those criteria. Okay. Now I will tell you this is the actual result. This is the, of course I have given the name as MLV, but not difficult to guess. Everybody can guess, and now they are in the public domain, so I can disclose also. M is the Mega, L, L&T, and B, BHEL. So you see the technical marks 73, 84, and 85. So Mega was lowest, BHEL was the highest. But financial bid, Mega 12,800, L&T 13,800, and BHEL 16,200 crore. So 30% weightage given to the technical marks and then technical score. Can you see how we have calculated technical score? BHEL will get 100, L&T will be 84 by 85 into 100, Mega will be 73 divided by 85 into 100. Then 30% of that, and financial bid, Mega is lowest, so they get 100. And then 12,800 divided by 13,800 into 100. So that is the financial score, not the, and that gives 70% weightage. And whosoever is the scores highest. So here you can say Mega was the highest, 95.76. So they have been awarded contract after negotiation at this. I have been told last week only that this has been cleared by their board of directors, and most probably the LOA will be issued in next couple of days. Now you see the hypothetical situation. L&T had a very clear advantage. Had they quoted 13,550 crores, they would have got the order. So they had cushion of 750 crores, but they quoted 1,000 crore extra. Similarly, Mega, if they would have quoted 13,050 crore, then they would have lost the contract to L&T. So now we all are talking that QCBS is paying extra for the good quality. No. Even if you are going to the L1, you see the substantial saving which you are getting. Because Mega was knowing that they cannot compete with the BHEL and L&T in terms of the technical marks, so they had to quotate very competitive rates so that they can catch the order, they can get the order. So this is very evident. It is the most competitive method. So people, all my PSU friends who are afraid of using QCBS, I would say if it is the really quality-oriented program, please go for it. You will get the substantial saving also, even if you are giving to L1. So it is nothing to, of course, first time you have to give the due diligence, but it is not that impossible scenario. Okay, so this is the, and then just some basic rules I would say. So you make certain logics. That is the best in any government procurement. Like I told you, the number of people. So you make logics and specified what will be the corresponding documents which you will check. Suppose you say project completion. So you say how much in how many years. Suppose someone has executed 30 years back. So you say last 10 years, and 10 years will be counted from the date of NIT, something like that. And it is always better you give your format. Otherwise, what will happen? Someone will give in X format, someone will give in Y format. So you can give your own format. Similarly, you make a logic that suppose my requirement is we say कि 7,000 crore का एक project होना चाहिए. So 7,000 I am giving 1 marks. Then you say कि 1.5 times I will give 2 marks, 2 times I will give 3 marks. And you use that logic uniformly for the similar criteria. Then average annual financial turnover, that was my idea, ki don't take last 3 years because of the COVID, take the 5 years and we can take the best 3 years out of that. Project implementation, manpower deployment, so you can see everything. But use your diligence and once if it is duly done, then I would say QCBS is good and NPCIL saved around 750 crore because otherwise if we would have gone to the LCS method, the mega could have quoted 13,700 crore and they would have fetched the order. But here, because of their low technical score, they had to quote much competitive rates. I think that's enough from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I will be admitting some questions if you have some questions. But just to supplement what he has said, QCBS can be good. It doesn't always lead to the highest cost. But one of the things that I've realized is that the traditional procurement where you define all the criteria and they have to meet the minimum, the contractors and bidders, they don't put their best foot forward. Sometimes they look at some of your requirements and they laugh. They say, oh, what is this guy talking about? If that is what he wants, we will give it to him. But when you push them to give proposals, they think through. They think through how they would even, prepare their work plan and match it with the other resources, identify possible risks in that contract, and try and come out with mitigation plan and all that, just to ensure that they score the best of mark, to be able to get a contract. So I think we need to have a second look at it. But while saying this, I would entertain questions. And then, okay, so I have only 4 questions here. I guess people want to go for tea break, but we'll do this quickly. So, Mr. Abhijeet, this is for you. Does the ease of doing business include a few salient procurement KPIs, key performance indicators, procurement lead time, competitive tension, costs, and time overruns?
Thank you. I think very important question. Our wing of ease of doing business is only and primarily dedicated to onboarding of emerging technology, which at this age and point of time, India does not have. It might be drone, it might be a hydrogen truck, it might be AI, it might be electric mobility, it might be anything for which there are no sufficient rule book, financing system, commercial equivalence is available. And to meet them, what we believe and what we practice is not actually to follow the rules on which we have been doing procurement. So if an example will give more clarity to it, there are 2 ways of buying something which is giving me electric mobility in the country. One, I go component by component. I buy charger, then I buy vehicle, then I buy software, then I buy a network operator. Sometimes we also engage a fleet operator, and we go in a loop of 5 years, 6 years, 8 years. This will end up me entering into a competitive bidding into components. So some component or some company might come and they say this is cheaper than the other one. So L1, L2 will actually, you will end up buying something which is not modern, which is not futuristic. So by the time you check all boxes of general financial rule, by the time you check all boxes of the guideline of the turnover, procurement and other things, you will be able to only buy something which they have been very established selling it and it has a market. However, if you are actually buying an emerging technology, it will not be cheap. It will be definitely expensive. So we follow the criteria of merit, productivity, and performance. Merit is decided by the position that you are contributing to the asset. Productivity is decided by your balance with the cost and outlay and the budget. You make value to the asset management or the assetization or monetization or not. And performance is you have to conduct a technical trial. I'm not impressed by the book. I'm not impressed by the balance sheet. I am going to be impressed by a technical, physical trial of the technology, product, or service before we commission it, because the asset is what I am going to place for the auction in a PPP mode. So for me, profitability is the guiding factor of my asset, and for that I am okay to overlap a couple of rule books of L1, L2.
Thank you. I think what you are saying is right. We should look more for value for money rather than just initial cost. Initial cost can cost us so much in the long run. But if we do proper analysis and also we look at the downstream contract, one of the problems that we have is that when we procure, we don't manage the contract and ensure that whatever was promised will be delivered, and you will be shortchanged. So the downstream contract management is also very important. But we come back to CESL. I think you are almost getting a job, a job here. Somebody is asking, can e-bus be offered to other government departments like armed forces, school buses? However, procurement is to be carried out through GEM. So you do it and it's going through GEM. Is it possible?
So the first thing is that, as I earlier explained, that these are expensive buses, which is costing around 2.5 times than the diesel buses. When the STU is agreeing into the contract with the operator, then there is a element of minimum assured kilometers on a per day, because the investor who has invested the money, he has to recover the money also. So in a contract, it is mentioned that a STU has to apply this buses 200 kilometer per day. So if we go for the institutions and the schools, which is the next step, naturally it has to flow to that direction also, because out of 23 lakhs, almost 10 lakhs buses are in the institutions. But the minimum assured kilometer running is the key factor. If the asset is not utilized fully in a day or in a month or in a year, then you won't get the total cost of ownership cheaper than the diesel buses. So where there is a case where the asset can run for more than 150 or 200 kilometers, definitely it is a economical solution as of now. We are developing a program for the schools also, but we all know that the school is a very limited running of a school buses. We are taking up with the government also that it can club with some chartered services or something, so the kilometers can be utilized properly and the business case can be made. As far as the GEM is concerned, these are basically a rate contract. They are not a fixed contract, because here only the price are discovered, then order has to be placed by the state government. So there is a different layer altogether. And the state governments, if they find viable, yes, the prices are there, then they enter into the agreement with the OEM or the operator.
So, but the question is, can you combine, maybe their quantity is not that big, but can you combine it with other requests from other places so that you get a bigger quantity and get economy of scale for them? I think that is what he wants to know.
For the institutions, so the schools?
Yeah, for the institutions.
Yeah, I said that yes, we are now moving towards that direction. The scope is very large, but as I said, that the program has to be developed, because today it doesn't make a business solution for the schools. The operator won't able to recover that one, and there is no parity for the school to buy a bus which is almost 2.5 times costing the diesel buses. So we are making some program for that one. Hopefully in this near future we will get to this model also.
Okay. On the GEM extension for electric mobility, I would like to add one line to it. GEM is usually a rate contract which gives you an liberty. Once you are onboarded, then you will be able to sell your product, and purchaser could be a government agency or could be anybody. It is not possible to onboard emerging technologies on GEM. So for particularly in electric mobility, a different level of GEM is being developed, which is saving you from doing same procurement compliances again and again. And it is only onboarding you once when you meet and when you conduct and qualify for one technical trial, which I said merit, productivity, and performance. Once you procured up, you conduct a trial for highways in all states of India. We are starting with a pilot of 5,500 kilometer connecting Delhi with the Kanyakumari through Bharatmala and Sagarmala. It is further going on, and whenever there is a state trial is happening, a tall claim will come out that this is my per kilometer, this is my per day per kilometer running, based on which a private bank can fund that entire project for a 12-month moratorium period without interest, which is in climate financing. So it's a moratorium period for 12 months. You don't have to pay interest. You can place order for vehicle. You can place order for charger and whatever component you want to buy. Also the infrastructure. You can come back and assetize that entire highway into PPP mode. It can be given to a government, power and petroleum PSUs. It can also be given to Shell, GOBP type of companies who are into electric mobility. And for good and ease of doing business, in India, we do not have licenses on charging stations. So it can also be given to people. So public, private, and people's partnership.
Okay, thank you very much. Just want to crave your indulgence. Just give us a few minutes. The question to you, sir. Why two envelope for a simple contract as it takes more time to finalize?
I think it's a good question because we deal in roads extensively. Our roads are small and contractors are also in far-flung areas. So we need to ensure that only the capable contractor comes as far as that small road is concerned. So this procedure in the L1 bid, it allows that we do the qualification of the contractor based upon, as I showed in the slide, based upon the equipment, machinery, manpower, and experience available to him. And that has proved that now the contractors, we did a lot of capacity building, and throughout the country at the far-flung areas, we developed the contractors, and this model is really helping us. That is why I have shown that if we use two-bid envelope system, it helps you into the L1, or otherwise we need to go to the QCBS. That will be for a big project and complex project. But for the L1 system, this has proved us very good, and we are getting good contractors and good work. And I can share you one more thing, that when we move in Delhi or Gurgaon or big cities, and when I went to Odisha, the far Naxal area, I went last month only. I thought of living there only because there the rural roads are so good, you cannot imagine. Even a single pothole is not there. And in cities we are suffering, and I really believe that with the change of whatever environment has come into Delhi, this performance-based maintenance contract should creep into the city roads also, wherein we should ensure that each and every day the road is in good condition. We call it time and space, temporally and spatially. The road is maintained temporally and spatially with the evidence and objective-based system of giving the marking. I really implore everyone of here sitting here and the policy maker that at least for the NCR, let us try the performance maintenance contract. The next election will not be fought on infrastructure. It will be fought on something else. Thank you so much.
So almost all of you have answered the question except QCBS. There wasn't any question, but I will ask you one, if you don't mind. So recognizing the advantages of QCBS approach, what obstacles are preventing its widespread implementation? How can we overcome these obstacles? And what measures did you take to ensure transparency and fairness in the QCBS process? I think that is the main concern for many people when you talk to them. The measures you take to ensure that it is transparent and it is fair.
Thank you. It's a really good question. In fact, QCBS, we should not go just for the sake of it. First of all, we should go for the LCS is our normal procurement. and with the good pre-qualification criteria. But if we are going like the nuclear-like project, which are really complex in the nature, and their quality makes a huge difference, then we should go for the QCBS. Now, QCBS is again the very subjective, so it can be manipulated also. I must confess this thing. So we have to be very, very transparent. And that's why I told you that we developed some certain logics for each and every parameter, why we selected that parameter, what was our idea behind this, and why we have given this particular value. So for everything we have written the logics. So it has to be very, very transparent. Otherwise, yes, it can be manipulated. It can always you put parameters which are favoring to the one company. And secondly, that's why we go for the pre-bid also. For all the QCBS contracts, we go for the pre-bid also. And then people will find out if your criteria is inclined to a particular one. And based on the pre-bid, sometimes we revise also. Thank you.
And maybe just to add to the fairness, transparency of this, there can be subjective criteria, but that subjective criteria can be turned to objective as much as possible by designing a guideline for scoring. For example, if you have the criteria, you can break it down to certain sub-criteria which are indicators of what you are looking for. And for each of such indicators, you can even have sub-criteria so that people can build that score for that criteria right from the foundation, from the very little, sub-criteria up to the criteria. So they can, for example, when they score, they will have to give a justification for scoring this. And it will be easier to say that we are looking for this, but this is not there, this is not there. The building blocks are missing. And for each of this building block, it is this mark that I give. And because this specific building block is not there, -1, and so on and so forth. So it's not just putting the bulk criteria mark there. You must, I believe, that if you design a good guidance on how to do it and discuss with all the evaluating members of the evaluating committee and ask questions if there is something that is not very clear, for all of you to deliberate on it, yes. And then it's easier. And it must have a story attached to it, a story telling why this is not getting this. And when you do that, people are forced to be as objective as possible.
May I, sir? Yeah. May I, sir? Yeah. Because QCBS is also my favorite subject, as I was discussing with him. In 2014-15, I did a national project when this policy was not even there, of 1,500 crore. And as you said rightly, that there should not be, first of all, for any government policy, there should not be fear in the mind of the people. First of all, to implement it. Government has done it with good intention, and the people should be aware about it and should not fear for it. Why are we fearing? Because we may be having lack of knowledge or lack of experience and lack of confidence. And then with the introduction, just come to my mind, with the introduction of artificial intelligence now in place, this role of the technical committee can also be seen through and evaluated through the artificial intelligence, whether it is objective or not. And then when we are scoring, giving the marks, let us use the AI, because AI does not know who is the mega and who is the LNT. So, and this QCBS will only bring in the kind of technological innovation in the country. Because for every technical intervention, for every technology, we look outward. Whatever we say Make in India is very good, Make in India is coming, but then there is some seed which comes from the outside, and the seed costs a lot. So this technological innovation will come only, as I experienced in my project, if we encourage QCBS, and we definitely give little more money to the capable people, not trying to give it at the lowest, because ultimately in the financial model, as you said, sir, in the GFR also it is written, it is value for money. It is for value of money. Again, I keep saying, pardon me for saying this, value for money, we are sitting in Lee Meridian. Otherwise, we could have been doing in some shanty also. The same seminar, the same people. So, but we spent, I think, 100 times more than that. But then this gives you value for money. So my urge to, with my experience and your experience and whatever you said, we must encourage QCBS, not only in nuclear project, in every project, because when we see expressway, we advertise that this expressways are in India is having a speed of 120 kilometer per hour. But actually, how much we get at the end of the expressway? Everybody praises this national highway has come up very well, but be critical. 60 kilometers se zyada nahi aati sir speed. Kyun nahi aati?
There are bumps.
So the point is that we should encourage. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, so thank you very much. I think this discussion, if we were given the whole day, it will go on and on. Especially, I didn't know you even knew about QCBS, but the way you have brought it up to support this, our answer is so marvelous. And I hope whilst we are on break, you'll be meeting people, asking questions, and trying to, identify people that you can get much more from. But for accountability's sake, before we go, one of the presenters says he has a question for me, and I want to subject myself. So please go ahead.
So only since you are the moderator and chair of the session, only if you allow, I'll ask a question on behalf of our startups on the very pain point of our procurement process, which is, I don't know what is the exact name, because from last 10 years, whatever emerging tech procurement we have been doing, it is sometime called earnest money deposit, sometime it's called performance guarantee, sometime it's called this and that. I tried to invade and go into the history of this. Then I got to know why it started in India. In India, we were under the colonization of British. And when they used to give contract for the laying of tracks, railway tracks, they used to give this work to the local prince and local large, businessmen. Yeah. The amount of value, which is the iron value equivalent to the iron which they used to give to the contractor for laying on the roads, they used to suspect that some revolt will happen. And revolutionaries, people, what they do, they will loot, they will take the iron and they will disappear. They'll make arms out of it. So they used to ask people who were taking contracts of railway from East India Company to furnish a security deposit before British government of that time. This still continues in India. You are somebody who has been seeing the world from your eyes and across countries and globe. It is existing anywhere else today, or it's us only who is still carrying it?
No, maybe the history is right, but the history taught us something. Mm-hmm. The history taught us that maybe people will not steal, but your own performance will steal away the benefit that project is supposed to give us. So, for example, you construct a road for us, nobody is going to steal. But within no time, there are cracks, there are this, we need a guarantee to assure us that though nobody is stealing it, it will not steal itself away, and it will deliver the benefit for which we are. And that is why this time, a lot of, if you look at government, they are doing not only design and build, but they have added the operation aspect to it to ensure that when you are operating it and anything goes wrong, it's a guarantee by itself. So the idea of guarantee is always there. When you buy a car, you want, some kind of guarantee that if it breaks within some 5 years, some components break, warranty, you can go back and so on and so forth. So that's my idea. Yes, it's very common, and it's because of risks. There are risks involved, spread all around us, and we need to mitigate those risks. And the way you mitigate that risk is a guarantee for you. So thank you, madam. Sorry for taking the time, but yes, we are all talkatives here, all of us. So.
I must say it's been a very promising note. Thank you so much.